This is Eswatini TV News live from Babane. I am Natilesi Tole alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, here's a look at our headlining stories. The government has congratulated their majesties on the success of the national elections. The Electoral Commission Forum of Southern Africa has recommended that the special voting elections be decentralized to ensure efficiency. The Ministry of Agriculture urges farmers to collect their farm inputs from the different agro-dealers countrywide. Good evening, glad to have you with us. The government has congratulated their majesties on the successful elections process. Government spokesperson Alpheus Nxumalo says this year history was made as 91% eligible to vote eMaswati registered.
The government of the Kingdom of Eswatini, through a press statement issued by government spokesperson Alpheus Nxumalo on Tuesday, congratulated His Majesty King Mswati III, Her Majesty the Indlovukazi, and the entire Eswatini nation for the successful election process of 2023. Nxumalo says the government commend eMaswati for exercising their universal and constitutional right to vote and be voted for in a peaceful and calm manner. He says this year history was made as we witness a record-breaking of 91% registration of eligible population registering. He says these figures affirm that the country's Ngundla system of governance is a participatory democratic system where each and every Liswati has a say in the kind of government they want. Nxumalo thanked the country's diplomatic and development partners for their support in ensuring that the elections were a resounding success. He says government notes there are reports that affirm that indeed the national elections were free, fair and peaceful, and he also says the government notes their recommendations, particularly on the importance of the dialogue. He says the eMaswati are looking forward to the Sibaya National Dialogue that has been called by His Majesty King Mswati III on Monday, 23 October 2023. Nxumalo further uploaded the Elections and Boundaries Commission for ensuring that everything was in order during the election process. And finally, he congratulated all the candidates that won in their various constituencies, particularly the 8 women MP-elects who were elected in various Ngundlas. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Siwekoza, Babane.
The Electoral Commission Forum of Southern Africa has recommended that the special voting elections should be decentralized to avoid long queues in the polling stations and ensure more efficiency. The head of mission, Wendy Didon, shared this recommendation when delivering the Commission's preliminary report of the elections, which took place over the weekend in an event held at the Happy Valley Hotel in Eswatini.
The mission established that EBC was ready to conduct the elections. The mission recommends the following for consideration by the EBC. Decentralized special voting in order to resolve the challenge of inadequate space that contributes overcrowding. Optimize use of technology in order to facilitate verification. Consider removing manual recording of voters' details on polling day as it constitutes duplication of already existing data. The EBC should standardize training for polling staff to address observed inconsistencies on setting up of polling stations, counting processes, and related matters. On the basis of concerns raised by stakeholders, the EBC should strengthen recruitment processes of polling staff, enhance the participation of marginalized groups, i.e. women, youth, and persons with disabilities in elections as candidates in decision-making and in decision-making positions.
The Ministry of Agriculture urges farmers to collect their farm inputs, which were subsidized by government from the different agro-dealers that now that the ploughing season rains have begun. The Principal Secretary, Sydney Smelane, says farmers have not been collecting their inputs at the expected rate.
The Principal Secretary says part of what causes the laxity is the El Nino predicted by the Meteorology Department from next month. He says they are in constant contact with the department and have been informed that it does not mean there will be no rains at all from next month.
Ngiko-ke sithi balimi vele abalime nyalo kuze ukuthi lithi litulu mhlawumbe nangabe liya ngekuphela kutholakale ukuthi sebavele balimile sebagadze ukuthi kulunge lokho labakulimile. Sesibili-ke sicelo lesinaso kulesokuthi sibuka-ke indlela noma speed lekuhamba ngaso indzaba yekubhadala tigulumba. Sine concern kakhulu ayihambi ngale ndlela beyihamba ngayo lena yekubhadalela i-input subsidy. Sinekunxusa-ke nekucela nje Maswatini onke labalimi ngokuthi thathani leli thuba Maswati lamahle kutawuze kuphele lesikhathi semdzaka kutawuze kube netinkinga letinye letivelako kanyalo tigulumba tisekhona ti-available eMaswati angasukuma ahambe ayolima.
Government pays 5,700 emalangeni for farm inputs for different farmers around the country, and the farmer pays the same amount, which in total equals 11,400 emalangeni. Government also contributes 180 emalangeni towards tractor hire for an hour, and the farmer contributes 400 emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Mbabane.
The non-impressive uptake of the loan guarantee schemes, which are meant to develop businesses, including small-scale enterprises, has prompted business organizations to look for solutions on how business holders can better access them. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Philip Nisi, announced the slow uptake of the schemes when he delivered the bank's integrated annual report for the year 2022-2023 in an event held at the Happy Valley Hotel in Eswatini on Monday.
In the year 2021, government relaunched the Export Credit Guarantee Scheme and Small-Scale Enterprise Guarantee Scheme. Amongst other things, the schemes are meant to cover shortage or lack of other acceptable collateral for credit, especially for small-scale enterprises. SEDCO's Chief Executive Officer, Ketiwe Mhlanga, says the poor uptake is a result of lack of the right documentation for some businesses. She, however, says they will sensitize their businesses on the schemes.
Lesikubona kuyinkinga kakhulu indzaba ye-issue yabosomabhizinisi la kule scheme seku-export. Siyazama-ke kungisekho ukuthi siceceshe bosomabhizinisi labancane ngendzaba yokuthi banga-exporta kanjani and basebenzise leyo guarantee scheme lekhona.
Business Eswatini's Chief Executive Officer Nathi Dlamini says they are yet to do a research to determine the underlying issues on these schemes.
Sesitawutendela ke liqwalingo lethu ababakasitsheli na ukuthi kubangwa yini. Ushilo nje ukuthi despite ukuthi basimproveile solo kusetshenziswa kwaso solo kuphasi sitabe sikubuka nangabe bekunene emabhizinisi abancane abasadi le scheme sikhona le scheme.
On another note, Central Bank's Governor Dr. Philip Nisi further says the National Payment Switch project meant to deliver fast payments for third-party service providers is currently being implemented. He says this will ensure easier business transactions.
Ngalamanye magama lesimlobhadalako nalohambisa imali nalofuna uto set up libhange la Eswatini utawukhoda ukuthi abhadale siclearishe ma ATMs siclearishe ma point of sale at the same time.
The Director of Small and Medium Enterprises at the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mluleki Dlamini, says they have tried to include non-banking financial institutions like FinCorp to increase the uptake of the schemes. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Smuva Shongwe, Ezulwini.
Over 100 Maswati are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Eswatini. This was said by cancer epidemiologist Xolile Dlamini when giving highlights about the Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an annual international health campaign organized by major breast cancer charities every October to increase awareness of the disease and raise funds for research into the cause, prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and cure. Cancer epidemiologist Xolile Dlamini shared statistics of breast cancer in Eswatini.
And when we look at our statistics, we are seeing an increase yearly of people diagnosed with breast cancer. And looking at the 2022 statement or statistics, we're seeing that out of the 1,000 that have been diagnosed, cervical cancer is number 1, then breast cancer is number 2 on the females. And a lot of them have been on treatment, and we're seeing them now living with without the abnormality of the breast.
Oncologist at the Manzini Government Hospital, Center Nino again says challenges faced by the ministry is late cancer presentation.
The main challenge is late presentation, because if breast cancer is found early, given the appropriate treatment, it has a very excellent outcome.
The Ministry of Health reports that over 100 Maswati are diagnosed with breast cancer every year. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Sam Kalswe with Zikumbuzo Dlamini, Manzini.
The University of Eswatini has started the construction of classes at the Gwaluseni and Babane campuses. This follows the donation of 10 million emalangeni in the year 2018 from the Motsepe Foundation. The site handover took place on Tuesday morning.
2018, His Majesty the King received a donation of 10 million emalangeni from the Motsepe Foundation, which was to quote was the University of Eswatini. Following procurement processes that had to be followed, it took long for it to commence the construction of the classes. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Eswatini, Professor Justice Twala, says the construction of the classes will address the shortage of learning facilities.
This process has been through an open tender process. All the necessary procurement processes have been followed, and the contractor has been given the appointment letter as required. So we're very glad that we have tried to follow the necessary procedures according to the Act as required.
The Chairman of Council, Chief Mkumbi, asked the contractors to give it their all. He says students will now learn in a free environment with no congestion.
It is expected, therefore, that the standards and specifications shall be adhered to whilst undertaking this project. We expect a building that will be of higher quality and standard that resembles modernity and environmentally friendly. And also the project must also accommodate learners with disabilities. The project cost is 12.9 million.
The classes will be constructed at Gwaluseni campus and Babane campus. The project is expected to take 18 months. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Smuva Shongwe, Gwaluseni.
Non-communicable diseases coordinator at the Ministry of Health, Vusi Shabangu, says there is an integration between non-communicable diseases, NCDs, and TB and untreated NCDs that can lead to mental disorders. Shabangu has been speaking during the 3rd NCDs training for nurses.
The Ministry of Health says more than 90% of adults in Eswatini are at risk of getting non-communicable diseases. 1 in 3 adults in Eswatini has hypertension or high blood pressure. The Ministry of Health then introduced NCT's training for nurses in 2018. On Tuesday, the Ministry of Health had the 3rd nurses training on NCDs, where NCD's coordinator Vusi Shabangu said these trainings are very important to the health sector.
We are noting that people are also lacking awareness about the NCDs, so we are capacitating nurses from all over the country to be capacitated in screening and managing and also creating awareness about the NCDs, especially because we are having this plan coming for TB, maybe HIV services, maybe mental health services. Sometimes these clients, they present with complications on NCDs. NCTs. So we want to make sure that we integrate the services. When a client comes for TB services, we screen for diabetes, we screen for hypertension. Same, coming for HIV services, we screen for NCT conditions so that we prevent the complications, because most of them, they come very late having this complication. As we are taking care of them on HIV services, TB services, we are losing the clients due to NCT's conditions.
The Ministry of Health has trained over 600 nurses on non-communicable diseases. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Siwekoza with Zikumbuzo Dlamini, Eswatini.
Forbes Reef Primary School head teacher Maswazi Mnisi has pleaded for speed humps to the Ministry of Public Works and Transport to control speeding vehicles along the Pikspek-Mojana Road, which endangers learners who use the road on a daily basis. Mnisi says some have been hit by speeding vehicles before.
Looking at the high speed in which cars travel along the Mojane Pikspek Road, mainly near the Forbes Reef Primary School, which endangers the learners who cross the road on a daily basis, the head teacher Maswazi Mnisi has pleaded with the Ministry of Public Works and Transport for speed humps to control speed.
Yeah, we just want to make a very special plea to the Ministry of Works to come and construct some speed humps so that our children can be safe. We have had some incidents and accidents actually where we lost one kid who was doing grade 3. That was 2019. And we did make some efforts so that the ministry can come and construct the speed humps here, but nothing has happened so far and we are still in danger. We do have a recent accident whereby a young child doing grade 2 was also hit by a car. Unfortunately, he did not die.
We tried calling the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, Tulani Mkhalip, whose phone rang unanswered. We also tried calling the Chief Road Engineer in the Ministry, Vincent Dlamini, whose phone also rang unanswered. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Smova Shongwe at Forbes Reef Primary School.
And now we'll have a look at our financial indicators.
Standard Bank. It can be.
And moving on to sports, the Eswatini Squash Federation has announced the return of the sport after over 3 years without activities. The federation was hugely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and has not been active since.
We begin our sports roundup with squash, where it remains one of the sporting courts that was hugely affected by the recent COVID-19 pandemic, both in terms of activities and strategic meetings. Acting president of the association, Brightwell Ngambule, says they are finally ready to be back to action.
Sikeke salenda ke liqwaningo ngoba nawubuka nje lendle niyo le beyikathe ingcinamba sibambelela ukuthi sifinyelele kuto tonke tingoti telive ngoba ifuna ibe nje sike sathi cwanika ke going around the country sichecka ukuthi tindlu tikuphi tikhonyana ke empeleni speaking nje tikhona nakubo Malkens tikhona nakubo Simunye nakubo Big Band. So besitheke sitawo bese sicala lo mkhankaso ukuthi leto tikolwa leti around leto lawo ma squash courts siwagcugcutela.
The athletes who are still practicing the sports, Muziphungwayo, has something to say.
Kusishayile kakhulu bisele emuva kanje njengoba ngisho sigame sicala emuva umbe saphika phile asadlala sakupick kwabita sobiyele emuva sokucala phasi, but we're getting there. We're hoping ukuthi bathasiqhubeka usorganize ama games sibe sidlale squash enjoy. Nekuthi senga invite nje bonke abantu labakhona labangafisa ukudlala the game. Asikahle kakhulu. You just come, dlala nikhathe endlini, kude elanga. See, that's why it's different. You can play as uzofika 60 years.
When last the association was active, it had only 8 members. On another note, in preparations for the 2024 Olympic Games to be held in Paris, different athletes commissioned around the world have sent their representative together for a general meeting in preparations for the Games, where they'll also look at the readiness and requirements by different athletes. The meeting that is being held in Switzerland will have Sibusiso Matsenjwa as the Kingdom of Eswatini representative.
On day 2, we started the forum on a high note, where we had some keynote speaker, Los Emperor Rishile, on how to set up a base and to be a leader. And even say that if you're not inspiring, you're not a leader. So then we had some takeaways from him to take back home and share with our ACs of the National Federation. And also we have some important topics where we discuss also how to become an effective athletes commission.
Matsenjwa will also take part of different meetings, including the International Olympics Committee, while in Switzerland. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Linda Dlamini. Bye-bye.
That's all for now. Before I go, here's a reminder of our top stories. The government has congratulated their majesties on the success of the national elections. The Electoral Commission Forum of Southern Africa has recommended that these special voting elections be decentralized to ensure efficiency. The Ministry of Agriculture urges farmers to collect their farm inputs from the different agro-dealers countrywide. And with that, it's a wrap. Up next is the update from myself and the team. Many thanks for your company. Take care.
At Spar, we've checked every price, counted every coin, and cut every cost to bring you Spar Super Saver Week. Get even more for your money. Like 5 kg Iwisa Super Maize Meal for just $49.99 and 2-liter Excella Sunflower Oil for only $73.99. It's Super Saver Week at Spar, 2 to 8 October only. Don't miss out. Exclusive to Spar Rewards customers.
Uyezwa na uthokandaba emagumbamane omhlaba ngemandla sibaya esigodlweni elitsitsini mhlati ngemashumi lamabili nakutsatfu imbala usho njalo ke Mswazi omnyama kulaba luthuli ulodunganzaba wasembelebeleni ulodvunganzaba wasemambondweni uduma phasi bakuzwe ngezingcingo msakandaba bakuzwa ngezingcingo bayakubalekela bayethe wena waphakathi.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds, full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, to feel the rush of life overwhelm you, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. You ask, and we give you the royal experience. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. There are but a few places on earth so special, so unique, and so spectacular, where it becomes the rite of passage for the ambitious travelers, the courageous souls, to all have the one and only royal experience.